So let's put that in the spectrum of things. If you look at a political party, it's a foundation. It's like a pyramid. And at the bottom, and I don't mean at the bottom, I just mean the broad part where most elected officials are at the local level. So it's precinct chairs, and it's school board members, and it's constables, and it's sheriffs. It's local elected officials who build. And then maybe the next level is Congress, maybe the next level is your House reps and your state senators and your US senators and your statewide officials and the governors at the top. And maybe that's how it is. But it's important that we have that structure. The reason I said this morning that the Democrats, and this is why it's so important, and we have to get over the healing, as I said this morning, we have to come together, and we cannot let Hillary Clinton win Texas, is because the Democrats, just 20 years ago, that pyramid, that foundation, they owned it all. Everyone was a Democrat everywhere. And if you're from rural Texas, central, east, or west Texas, it was all Democrat. Now, the same people, very conservative. Very conservative, and Obama chased them away. And now if you look at the map, if I had a state map up here, it's crimson red. Greg Abbott and I won, and I think the number, I'm pretty close, over 75% of the vote in 70% of the counties. And so it's that, and it wasn't about us, it's about all the people, it's about the issues, it's about the policy. But my point is, in 20 years, the Democrats opened the door for us. They walked away from the voters. They walked away from conservative issues. They walked away from, quite frankly, even being reasonable on issues. I mean, they're so far to the left. I mean, that's where they're part of, and Bernie is taking them further, which is just fine. But what you have done is you've come in and you've taken control of the pyramid. And so I feel good about the fact that we should be able to hold Texas for a long time if we don't, as a party, make the mistake that they made and get arrogant on the issues. That we don't get to the point where we ever take a vote for granted. That we work hard every day and stand tall and fight, whether it's on restroom issues or to cut your property taxes or protect your Second Amendment rights. We can never take anything for granted. We have to fight every day like it's the first day. And so that pyramid we have, now that they don't have an elected official in 141 counties, we have a chance to build a fortress. And that's why we can't let Hillary slip in here into Texas and win a presidential primary. And that presidential primary, a presidential race in November. Because if she were to do that, that would help them restart their structure. So this election is important in so many ways. America is in great trouble. I don't have to tell any of you that. The world is in great trouble. The world, when they panic, when they're in trouble, and they dial 911, they expect the United States Marines and the U.S. Air Force and the U.S. Army and the Navy and the American taxpayer to bail their butts out. And we do it. And we don't ask for anything but a small plot of land to bury our dead. We are the country of liberty. We are the country of hope. That's why people come here. I wish they'd all come legally, but that's even why they scramble across the border, which they shouldn't, and we need to stop it. Totally. We've done a much better job, but we need a president of the White House who will partner with us. They want to come to America. I've been blessed in my later life, in the last 20 years. I'd never been to Europe until I was in my 40s, and I've traveled the world a lot now. Everywhere you go, first of all, they want to come to America, but they really want to come to Texas. You know, Texas is like no other place in the world. You know, I read something that's really true. When you move to Texas, you don't move into Texas. Texas moves into you. Is that good? There's a great spirit. I was in Israel recently, and I'd never been to Israel before. I got a chance to meet with Netanyahu, and I got a chance to meet with many of the members of their government, and as well as see all the incredible places from the Old and the New Testament. But I realized the commonality we have between Israel and Texas. And I have this flag pin that someone gave me at an event years ago, and I said, one day if I get to Israel, I'll go. And I had the Texas Lone Star flag and the Israeli flag that has one star on it. And I was speaking to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I said, you know, I just realized today how much in common we have. You're the Lone Star country, and we're the Lone Star country. I'm sorry, the Lone Star state. And I marvel at the Israeli army, because they have soldiers, Jewish young men and women. As you know, every Jewish young man and woman has to serve for almost 3 years, 2.5 to 3 years. from 68 countries around the world. And they're called lone soldiers because they go to Israel to fight for their country, and they're called lone soldiers because they don't have any family there. So they're alone. And the government kind of makes sure that, there's some place they can go on weekends if they have leave and you kind of have a family life. And I thought about it. It's amazing that people come from all over the world to go to Israel to stand and fight for their country. And then I thought, you know what? If Texas was surrounded by terrorists as they are there, if Texas was in trouble and we were our own country, people from all around the world who had ties to Texas would come back and fight for us.
Yeah.
That's what makes us special. I can talk a lot about issues, and if you noticed, if you haven't heard me speak before, I don't talk from notes. I just kind of talk from my heart, and I talk from what I feel in the room and the experiences of the day. And look, we're gonna lower your property taxes. We're gonna put a lock around college tuition from skyrocketing. We're going to pass sanctuary cities. We're going to protect life. We're going to protect the Second Amendment. We're going to keep men out of the ladies' room. We're going to do all those things because I have a great team in the Senate. But what I wanted to spend this time as I came out here, I thought about here are 3,000 people who have been here all day. You've been listening to speeches all day. You've heard me at least once, maybe twice. What could I say that would be different? And I want you to know that pyramid I talked about is a pyramid not just for Texas, but it's for the world. Because, as I mentioned before, when the world dials 911 and expects America to show up, America has to have a strong economy, to have a strong military. And America looks to Texas. Are we counting on California to bail us out? Are we counting on New York or Illinois? I mean, these states are in the tank. Do you know we have, even with the downturn in oil, we have about 11 to 12 billion in the rainy day fund. That's more money than almost every other state has combined in savings, except Alaska. They have a lot because of oil reserves and small population. But we basically have more than the rest of the country combined. As Republicans, we really haven't spent all the money. Last session, we're given a number for our budget by the controller, Glenn Hager, who does a great job, and we can spend up to that. And he does a forecast moving forward. Well, for the first time in history, Greg Abbott and I said, we're going to save more money than ever. We left about $6 billion on the table of projected revenues. And it's good we did, because had we spent that money, that $6 billion in projected revenues may not be $6 billion, but at least we're not committed where we'd have to pay those bills. So we're going to go in the next session. It's going to be a tight budget. Our economy is strong, but the oil prices are down a little bit. Houston has been hit particularly hard. But we're going to make the right decisions and we're going to get through. But we've been very, very fiscal in our outlook. It's one of the reasons on property taxes, and I appreciate, and I know the probably county elected officials here and city elected officials and school district people, I appreciate you have a hard job like we do, but we have to keep our budget under 4 or 5%. We raised it, I think, 2.9 last session, around 3%, because that's population inflation. Our counties and cities and school districts cannot grow at 8 and 9% a year. That's 3 times what people are taking home. Eventually we'll have a train wreck. And that's why I'm so focused on reducing property taxes. I just want our cities, counties, and school districts to live in your means. So we want to bring the rollback right. Right now they can raise taxes above 8%. You'd have to get a petition to stop if it goes 8%. I don't mean raise taxes. Their budgets can go up 8%. Because remember, the effective tax rate is your rate plus the value. Well, they can lower the rate, but if the value goes up to the ceiling, your taxes are going up. And so we want to lower it to 4 or 5% and make it an automatic election so that they can't spend more than population inflation unless you approve, unless you have a vote. So that's really what we're focused on. We have a committee going around the state. So I'll wrap up with this. The world needs America. America needs Texas. And Texas needs to be led by Republicans. And not just any Republican, but conservative Republicans. Who love the Word of God and the principles of Reagan, who will not step back when they're bullied by the left on a bathroom bill, who will not shirk their responsibilities of securing the border to the best of our abilities we have. And we've increased spending from $250 to $800 billion in our budget. We're doing the best we can, but we have to have a president in the White House who will help us. We can really secure it. We're doing a great job, but they're still coming over the border because President Obama's doing nothing to stop it. But we're going to fight. We have Greg Abbott, we have Ken Paxton continue to sue the government. We're going to stand with North Carolina on their issues. We're going to stand together. Greg Abbott and I said when we came into the inauguration, that we were very fortunate. Rick Perry did an incredible job, and the people before us. Texas was in really good shape when we took it over, and we wanted to make it even stronger and better, and that's what we're doing, and that's what we will do. You didn't elect me to go to events to cut ribbons. You elected me to stand in the gap on the things that are important to you and your family and your business, your livelihood, your grandkids. I'm old enough that I don't have a 30-year or 20-year political career ahead of me. I kind of got into this game later in life. And so I don't make decisions based on how this is going to impact me in the next election. I make decisions on what's the right thing to do.
Amen.
And last session, as I said this morning, it was the most conservative, the most successful Senate session in the history of the state because of 20 great Republican senators. You sent us all conservatives. And they're all doing a great job, like Brian Birdwell, who I just love that guy who was here before. You all know his story, I think. You all know. Does everybody in here know his story? Brian Birdwell, for those of you who don't know, was in the Pentagon on 9/11, and his staff was wiped out. He was burned over 80% of his body. He's had 38 surgeries. He was put back together. Thought he wouldn't make it. They sent his son in to say goodbye to their dad. He survived. Therapy, incredible pain to go through to recover from those burns. And he comes home to Texas, and he still wants to serve the public. And he runs for office. And that's the kind of people we have in the Texas Senate. And thank you for coming along today. I didn't come this far to only come this far. I'm never going to back away from a fight. It's not that I'm bolder than anyone else or more fearless than anyone else, but you didn't elect me to cower just because people call me names or shout us down or give us a tough fight. You elected me to get things done, and we're going to do it in the Texas Senate, and I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Love you all very much. God bless.